Good morning, my dear students, and I welcome you back to the Moral Science online class. And I know quite a gap, but I hope that you all might have enjoyed and might have liked the video which we had sent you. It was for your purpose, for your good. And now let's continue with the chapter that is effective time management. And in the previous class, we people spoke about what is the use of or what is the requirement of time management. And in that, I had given you one illustration which is given over there about one example which was given over there in your textbook, as well as we have also seen one tabular column which is given there, and I told you that it will be good for you if you will kindly fill it up, because it will be like you will be chalking out what you want to do out of your life. What are the big rocks, what are the pieces of ground, what is sand and what is water, means how what you want to give priority and what is to be done first. So this is what you people have to do over there, and I hope that you might have done it. And now let's continue with the chapter, in which let us see one day at a time. Before we go to this, I hope you all are having the moral science book, so kindly keep it open print of you, because I'll be reading it out and then I'll explain while you can look into the textbook. One day at a time. Today is the day for action, no matter how big or how small our work is. We must consider each day as a single unit. We can surely check up on yesterday and plan for tomorrow, but today is what is at our disposal. Beautiful lines we come across. Yesterday was a spent check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is ready cash. Spend it well. Yesterday, with its mistakes and fears, its cares and its cautions, its worries and its troubles, has gone forever and is beyond our control. And tomorrow, with all its possibilities, hopes, and promises, is not in our control either. We are thus left with one day of our own today. Therefore, let us live but one day at a time, and live it well, concentrating our full attention to this day, today. Let us consider the example of the horse. Horses wear blinkers or eye screens to prevent them from being disturbed or frightened by movements of vehicles and people on the road. You must also wear blinkers in order to fix our attention to the work of today. Let us focus and learn to narrow down to the moments of the day. Today is made up of 24 hours. These 24 hours have 1,440 minutes. These 1,440 minutes have 86,400 seconds. Very beautiful these paragraphs are. One day at a time. One day at a time. Yes, definitely. You can live only one day at a time. Yeah. If you're thinking that I will live for yesterday, I will live for tomorrow, and I'll live for today, it is not possible, my dear children. It is said that today means aaj ka din, today is the day of action. Yes, maybe you will do something very big or maybe something very small, but that day is to be considered. That is today. And that is true also. You can just think about what you have done yesterday. You can just think about what you want to do tomorrow. But today is the day when you will do that thing. That is the difference. See, so nicely it is said that yesterday was a spent check, means something that is already gone. And tomorrow is a promissory note. What may happen? What can happen? And today is ready cash. Spent it well. Today is the day when it will be done. आज होगा, कल हुआ था, परसों होने वाला है. See, it's very simple. And then it is said, yesterday might have been the time filled with mistakes, fears, cautions, troubles, many things. But tell me one thing, what you have done yesterday, or what is completed, what is gone, can you bring it back? Was it in your control to bring it back? No. Gone is gone. Now, like tomorrow, what you're thinking might happen. See, I said might happen. You might do. whether you're sure it will be done according to that. Can you predict that you will be able to control everything? No. But today, when you're doing right at this moment, you can think, yes, I want to do this. And maybe you will be able to do also. That's what today is. Very important part of your life. And then one example is given about a horse. You might have seen that a kind of an shade, like how in the hot season, summertime, we people put on shades, na? Goggles. In the same way, one kind of a blinker is put over the eyes of the horses so that they will not be distracted. मतलब उनको आवाज़ से या इंसान की आवाज़ से या गाड़ियों की आवाज़ से उनको distraction नहीं होगा और they will be focused. I think we humans must also put on blinkers so that we'll be focused on what we want to do today. No yesterday, no tomorrow. Just be focused. You just think one day, 24 hours, 1440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. Oh my god. 86,400 seconds. How much is that? A big lot to do. Okay, you might sleep for a little hours, but then the rest of the time is yours. So we have to spend it very well. Then the next thing that it tells is that does this figure frighten you? Means the one which we spoke about. Does this figure frighten you? That is the story of a clock. One day it started to fantasize on the future. Okay. It imagined that if it ticked twice per second, it could double its life. When it calculated at the rate of 2 ticks per second, the poor clock realized that it would tick 1,72,800 times per day. That amounted to somewhat around 6 crore 30 lakhs, 63 crore ticks in 10 years. The thought of this staggering figure made it collapse from nervous exhaustion. The grandfather clock on the wall whispered, "Do not be a fool. All you have to do it is only one tick at a time." At once the clock revived and started ticking again, and it ticked on to live for 100 years. Very often we begin to lose courage at the sight of a huge task ahead of us, and all our tasks are like the job of the clock, a lot of ticks, but only one at a time. So use every second of the day well. Time is the most valuable thing in the world, said Edison. The value of time is a personal thing. Its value differs from person to person, depending on who you are and what you want to do. The next para I'll read out afterwards. It's a very beautiful one for different people, how it is. Now one story is just given over here. It is about a clock. The clock, it says that one small clock was there, baby clock. So that baby clock, one day he started thinking whether I can make my future beautiful and much more better. And can I make my living long? Means the baby clock wanted to increase the longevity of its. So what that baby clock thought, instead of ticking once, I'll do one thing, I'll tick twice. And मतलब एक बार टिक करने की जगह मैं टिक करने की जगह मैं एक बार मैं टिक करूँगा। ऐसे करके उसने सोचा तो मेरी ज़िंदगी बढ़ जाएगी। फिर उसने कैलकुलेट करना शुरू किया कि इफ़ आई स्टार्ट किकिंग टू टिक्स पर सेकेंड, देन पर डे में मुझे इतना करना पड़ेगा और 10 साल में मुझे इतना करना पड़ेगा. And thinking that, the clock, the baby clock started collapsing. Oh my God, I'll have to work so much, I'll have to do so much. Then the grandfather said, grandfather means clock's grandfather. He said, don't be a fool. You just have to do one thing. That you have to tick only once at a time. Don't think about ऐसा करूँगा तो क्या होगा, वैसा करूँगा तो क्या होगा. आज क्या कर रहे हो, that you have to think. And then the clock realized, yeah. And the clock came back to its sense and it started ticking once. And it lived for long. Humans are also like that only. When we get some job or a task, thinking ये ऐसा करने से ऐसा होगा, ऐसा करने से ऐसा होगा, और कल जाके मुझे इतना करना पड़ेगा, oh my god, I'll have to do so much, then that collapses us. But we have to remember that what is given is for today. Finish that. Tomorrow will be the new thing. That will be finished tomorrow. And in this way, don't make a heap of it in your thoughts. Otherwise, all your courage and everything will collapse. And Edison said, time is the most valuable thing in the world. Yes, time is money, time is precious. But the value differs from person to person. The way I value time, or what is the importance of time in my life, it will not be the same as in your life. It will differ, my dear children, from person to person. Now, how to understand the value of time? You just look into the book. It is given. 1 year, ask a student who failed in a class. 1 month, ask a mother who gave birth to a premature baby. 1 week, ask the editor of a weekly newspaper. 1 day, ask a daily wage laborer who has children to feed. 1 hour, ask lovers who are waiting to meet. 1 minute, ask the person who missed the train. 1 second, ask a person who just avoided an accident. 1 millisecond, ask the Olympian who just lost a race. So beautiful, isn't it? Value of time, so different for different people. 1 year. If someone asks me about my 1 year, my 1 year value will be totally different from that of a student who has failed an examination. 1 year, 365 days of his or her is lost, is wasted. The same way for a mother, if the baby is born before time, that only a mother can understand. In the same way, a week, a day, an hour, a minute, a second, a millisecond, for different people it's different. It has got its own purpose, its own value. Time has got its own value in a very different way in different people's life. Let's come to the next topic, and the next topic is all about budgeting. You know what's budgeting? Yeah, budgeting means a proper use, a calculative use of things. And here we are talking about time. Can you see one picture which is given over there in the budgeting section of your textbook in page number 25, with a man with lots of hands, like he seems to be a multitasking personality. So let's see about the budget. To make a time budget, we need to understand how to prioritize our various activities. All our tasks are not of the same value. Some jobs are important and others are less important. Some activities are urgent and others are not. In the very next page, you see the 4 boxes, quadrants given below may be used to understand the importance and urgency of your task. Okay. Yeah. Budget your time. Like say for example, when I spoke about budget, the most important thing is what is important. Means in your list, what should come first and which should be done first. That is what is budgeting. As such, a person has to do a lot of things, but out of those lot of things, something will be there which has to be done first in comparison to another thing. Like say for example, if you are having maybe 1,000 rupees in your pocket, and then you are having options like buying some eatables for the house and partying with your friends, and there is nothing to eat in the house. What you would prefer first? Partying with your friends by keeping the house people empty stomach? No, you won't let them starve. Your first priority will be what? To spend the 1,000 rupees for the house people, buying food, and then after that, if anything is left out, you can go for the partying. Yeah, that's what is budgeting. So it has been said that in our life there are many activities, and we just have to remember that those activities have to be kept under two categories. One is urgent, means zaruri hai, and one is not urgent, itna zaruri nahi hai. So in your this book, page number 26, you can see that four boxes are drawn. We call it as quadrants, and it has been written what is important, what is not important, what is urgent, what is not urgent. So I'll just read it out and you just see about it. Activities which are urgent and important. They are crisis, pressing problems, deadline driven projects. And in the second one, which is not urgent, preparation, planning, relationship building, recreation, and exercise. Means these activities which are given over here in point number 1 and point number 2, they are important than third and fourth. But in those also, activity number 1 is more important, more urgent, and activity number 2 is less urgent. Means more priority must be given to activity number 1. And in quadrant number 3, that is activity number 3 and activity number 4, quadrant number 4, there are some phone calls, meetings, popular activities, interruptions, pleasant activities, time wasters, some calls. They are important. You need to give attention to them. But basically, they have to be given priority only after covering up point number 1 and point number 2. Means activity number 1 and activity number 2. So, different activities. Now, let me explain it further after reading it. The different activities in the boxes show how to put first things first. The activities in first quadrant are important urgent items that have to be dealt with immediately. For example, exams and tests, sport tournaments, competitions, family emergencies. The second quadrant show examples of tasks that are important but not urgent. They do not require our immediate attention but have to be planned for. Example, regular studies, sports practices, exercise, maintaining family relationships, prayer time. The items in the third quadrant are urgent but unimportant. They are tasks that can be eliminated or minimized. Example, unwanted phone calls, that interrupt your activities, distractions. Activities in the fourth quadrant are unimportant and also not urgent items, and they can be altogether overlooked. Example, hanging around with friends, too much TV watching, mindless web browsing, idle gossip. I hope I'm clear now. Now see, the first quadrant, as it has been said, they are very, very, very urgent. Means you have to pay attention to it. Like exam and test, obviously they are urgent. Then competitions, family emergencies, they are urgent. The second one quadrant, they are not urgent, but they are important. Means अभी नहीं करना है पर करना है. Then third one, if you want, you can just skip it. That is what is the meaning of it. Means अगर नहीं चाहिए हो तो exclude कर सकते हैं हम, मतलब उसको ना करें तो भी चलेगा. फोर्थ वन, ऑल टुगेदर नहीं करते हैं तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. That's what it means. Coming to the next part. The next part is about, as you can see, the scrolling of the tabular column, that same thing. Then let's come to the strategies for time management. Now, strategies for time management. Given below are some important strategies that can help you manage your time effectively. Now, here, let us see that strategies. The first one is organize yourself. Take time to think and plan your work in relation to time fruitfully every day. Yeah. It is not that today you have planned and after that you have forgotten about it. Daily you revise once. I have to do this. That is organizing yourself. Then the second one, set goals. Set goals. Set reasonable, achievable goals. Goals give you direction and help you to plan your time. You remember that chapter 1, goal setting? Yeah. Goals have to be set, but they must be reachable, achievable. Means, like, you will set a goal. In 3 years, I want to become rich like Ambani. It is good that you are thinking to be rich. It is very good you want to become famous. But think whether you can reach till there in 3 years. Because if you don't, you will become a frustrated person. So think reasonably. Okay? And set achievable goal, which you can achieve. So that you are not frustrated and a tense person. Then make a task list. That is the next one. Make a task list. Prepare a list of upcoming tasks every day. These activities include class, meals, games, rest, recreation, etc. Sorry to say, but it is rarely a task list that we people prepare. Very rarely. How many of you do you ever note down or chalk down what you want to do one after another? Yeah, this time I want to do this, this time I want to do this. But we must do it. If we prepare a task list, it becomes very easy for us to go through it, and then you can just have a look that yes, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm lagging behind in this. Make a timetable. Okay, that's the next set. Make a timetable. Decide how much time is needed for each task. Prepare a list of your study tasks, including homework. Estimate the time each job will take to complete it. Yeah, keeping in mind you as student, you have to remember that how much time is needed for this. Like say for example, um, you take one subject and sit down, and then you spend the entire time in that one subject. What about the other subjects which are overlooked? Then they will become a pending work for you, a pain in your neck for the next day, and then the next day, then the next day, and a heap will be there. ढेर लग जाएगा. So try to make a timetable. Then identify your time wasters. A very important thing, identify your time wasters. In order to make a realistic timetable, it is important to identify those items that usually waste your time. They are obstacles in the management of your time, and they reduce your effectiveness. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on this, but really everyone need to see this, that when you are doing a work, when you are focused, and when you have set a goal of doing something, what is that which is acting like an obstacle, means holding you from doing it? It can be a useless phone call, it can be watching a useless TV show, or maybe a web browsing, or unnecessary gossiping, or texting. It can be anything. So just be very careful of such time wasters which waste your time. The next one is develop regularity. Okay, if you want to learn more and remember what you study, you must have a habit of studying on a regular basis. Hard, no? Yeah, really hard. Regular study? Very difficult thing. But my dear students, in your student life, it is a must. You must learn to do this. And next point is one of my favorite one, and which I always tell, that is, do not procrastinate. Occupy yourselves with distracting activities. Occupying yourself with distracting activities and unnecessary tasks can make you postpone your important tasks. The habit of procrastination is a great spoiler of works. It can leave important jobs undone. According to Panorate Poikilons, procrastination is the foundation of all disaster. Wow, what beautifully said words they are. True. Postponing. Act of postponing. That is called as procrastination. कल करेंगे ना? And it is human tendency, कल है. But कल किसने देखा? And why? Try to understand that. If today's work you will do tomorrow, tomorrow's work when you will do? Day after tomorrow. In that way, never you will be able to complete your work. So please, the time wasters keep aside, which occupy you, which stops you from doing your work. You have to keep it aside. Then comes the next one. That is, be persistent. Learn to constantly pursue the work you take up. Study has to become a normal activity for you. It will bring its reward and satisfaction. Persistent. Sticking to it. Yeah. You need to stick to what you want to do. It is very necessary. Maybe it will take time for the result to come, but time will definitely pay you for your hard work, for your concentration, for your consistently looking into that work. The ninth point says set deadlines. ज़रूरी है. If you don't set deadlines, what happens? Deadlines makes you answerable to yourself, as also it helps you to plan better. They keep you on targets and you increase personal productivity. You must counter Parkinson's law, which says work tends to expand to fill the time available for its completion. Yeah. Deadlines. You know what are deadlines? I hope so. मतलब ये दिन में ये काम खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. The D dates. And D dates are very important because the D dates are the one which ask you a question. Did you complete your work on the day when you planned it out? And it keeps on telling you that what your target is, and also it improves the, you can say that the productivity of yours or the output of yours. It is said Parkinson's law says work tends to expand to fill the time available for its completion. Yeah, whatever time slot you have kept, when work is having one tendency that it keeps on expanding, and it takes the space that you have kept. Like you have decided 2 hours time for completing this one work, then you see that one work will slowly will expand and it will complete in that 2 work. It will occupy the 2 hours of yours. So deadline is very important. And the last point is monitor yourself. Develop an appropriate mechanism to check how well you are managing your time. Before going to bed each night, examine your day's work. Monitoring your progress is important to identify any problems that may crop up and spoil your plan of action and waste your time. Managing time is a personal art. Your time management ability improve with practice. It's not merely an issue of work or activity, but a matter of life. You can't make up for lost time. You can only do better in the future. Ashley Ormond. Monitor yourself. Yes. Self-introspection we call it as. Self-introspection means खुद से सवाल करना, जवाब पाना, and to find out where you stand. Like you have set a goal, you wanted to complete it. So before going to bed, think, did I complete the work? Did I use my allotted time in a proper manner? So just recall, examine, review, and think. One more thing is there. You should also try to understand while doing that work what all problems you came across, and also you have to think that while doing a work what all problems you may come across and how to solve it. Because if you don't pre-plan all those things, or if you don't reconsider all those things, or you don't consider all those things, maybe it will just waste your time. And managing time is really actually an art, and it differs from person to person how a person manages his or her time. And actually it improves with time and practice. Means give yourself time to improve and practice it. If today you have done a little, next tomorrow just increase the time, and that will bring perfection. And moreover, my dear children, time management is something that is not only related to work should be done properly, activity should be done properly, and all this. It's about life. Life is, time is something which is very powerful, the most powerful thing. It can make a person, it can you can say that it can just make a person into something very big, or it can just break a person into small pieces. Time is that powerful. So it's not about doing something, a work or activities for which we have to think about time management. It's about our life we are talking, our entire life we are talking about. Like how it is said by Ashley Ormond, you cannot You can't make up for lost time. That's true. What is gone is gone. You cannot bring it back. You cannot put a reverse gear in that to mend it up. But at least you can make your future a little better by learning from your mistakes, by being more cautious, by managing time properly. So, this is what time management is all about. So, I hope the chapter is clear to each and every one of you, and be thorough with the chapter. And if any doubts, you can just let me know. You can ask about it. So, till we meet again, goodbye and take care.